Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And you're watching Tom Talks Rubbish.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Tom Talks Rubbish, and stand back with another interview. For the first time ever, with two guests on my show, I'm joined by two people that are probably the most recurring on my channel. Dom from Give Me a Whole Yeah, and Anthony from the Anthony YouTube channel and the Anthony podcast. So welcome to the show, boys.
Mate, it's a pleasure to be back. Good to be back. Good to be back among good company. Great to see Anthony here as well. Love it, mate. Love it.
Glad to be here, Tom.
So what is it for you guys? Is it your third time for both of you, right?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like a celebrity on the. I feel like a celebrity on your podcast, man. You know what I mean? And I feel like with your success and with Anthony's success on his YouTube channel, I mean, like, you know, CP YouTube royalty. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I'm with two, like. It's amazing. Thank you so much for having me on, and it's great to be back. You know, hanging out with Anthony again as well, because you know you guys are people that live in different parts of the country to me, and obviously with health conditions and stuff, not always great. You know, in terms of getting out and about all the time, you know, and seeing people. So it's lovely that we can do this way. I can see you guys because I care a lot about you both. I respect you both as people. So it's wonderful to be back, mate. Thank you.
As I said, when I came up with this idea, I was like, I've got to ask both of them. Like, I feel like it will be such an interesting conversation. Dom, we better let Anthony get a word in.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Let's let Anthony take it away.
Is that anything? I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy for all of your success, Tom.
I appreciate that, man. So, if we take this back to the beginning with your journeys with cerebral palsy, you're both born with it, correct?
Yeah.
So I've got something called spastic diplegic cerebral palsy. Dom, are you comfortable saying what yours is? And then
Spastic diaplegia as well. For me, it was what I was born with. Like I say, obviously Anthony's got a very different experience as well. So yeah, the spastic diaplegia for me. What about yourself, Anthony?
I have spastic quadriplegic cerebral palsy.
What are some of the differences with your one then, Anthony? Because like with mine and Dom, it mainly affects our legs, correct?
Yeah.
Well, with my it affects my hands as well. I don't know whether people will be able to see, but you know, my right hand, it stayed clenched all the time. So I'm basically one-handed, and even then I'm very limited.
Yeah. So with that, what are some of the things you face, Anthony, that maybe Dom and myself don't?
Like sometimes I find it difficult to press buttons depending on the toughness of the button, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, I get that.
And when it comes to eating and drinking, I have to be fed.
I saw you put a video up about that recently, actually, didn't you?
Yes.
And one thing I am curious to know, gents, is with your cerebral palsy, do you think it's best to be open with like your YouTube community about the fact that, okay, I may not record on this day because of my cerebral palsy? Or do you think that sometimes people may view that as a cop-out, for lack of a better word? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm going to let Anthony lead on that because I've got a different perspective. But Anthony, I've always, again, applauded and respected Anthony's podcast for his openness and honesty. So I'd like Anthony to lead on that answer.
Yeah, I agree. I was just going to say that.
I think it's important, to be honest, because say for example, if you get a load of comments asking you questions because of my disability, it might take me a while to respond, like with typing and stuff. So if people know about my disability, then obviously there's going to be a lot more patient.
Yeah, I fully agree with that, Dom.
Yeah, it's interesting because it rarely comes up in my work. In fact, a lot of people in the music industry that I work with, or in the wrestling industry, they have no idea I have CP. And obviously the pandemic, when we started doing this sort of stuff, last 2 years, everything's been on Zoom. So nobody's actually, unless I've told them and communicated, and sometimes I can struggle with my thought process and things, and I might have to mention it, but very rarely does it come up. And actually, I've had followers of the podcast be shocked if they've seen, like, for example, the first interviews I did with you guys was some of the first times that our community, and give me a whole knew I had cerebral palsy. And so they looked up photos of me, and obviously with my sticks and obviously my wobbly legs.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
No, please do. Please, it's fine. I obviously, with wobbling about and rocking out, it's something I do. I am more open about, in the disability and mental health communities. But I think it's interesting because people would say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know."
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's okay. It's all right. It's just that because most of the time people see, all of us, this level, it doesn't necessarily, unless you guys would know some of the facial expressions, some of the mannerisms, some of the body language that would show you that I have CP. But I think that a lot of people don't really, unless they do research, they don't know. So it hasn't come into it only when, certainly the wrestling community, not really, but in terms of the music industry, it's certainly a USP. And I'll finish up now because I know I can waffle on.
It's good, man.
But I've got ADHD. I've got an ADHD diagnosis now, so that's why I waffle on. But contrary to Anthony and your experience, it took me a while to start talking openly and honestly about my disability. Not because I was ashamed of it, just because it didn't come up. It didn't come up, and then I went to America. And I was working there, and they were like, "You need to be pushing this. You need to be promoting disability awareness, because on YouTube in the music industry, it's just not talked about."
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the reasons why I started on Soundsphere and on Gimme a Hug, and on Wobbling About Rocking Out, talking more about my disability and taking inspiration from the both of you.
Mm-hmm. I really appreciate that. Don't you, mate?
Sorry, can I add one thing quickly? And also because of my speech pattern, obviously, I thought it was important because of my speech pattern, because sometimes I can slur my words a lot. I thought it was just important to explain to the people why that happens sometimes.
Yeah, I fully agree with that, because I have a very slight speech impediment as well. So like, just some words might not come out right, and then I might be like,
yeah,
that ain't a dig, by the way, Anthony. Like, some words just won't come out.
Yeah, I understand. No worries.
So how important for you guys is having a good support system in place with making your content and stuff? Because I know full well that, like, if I didn't have my family and carers in place to help get me ready to look presentable for videos and stuff like that, I would not feel confident making my videos. Is that the same for you guys? Like, having a support system helps you a lot with your videos?
I'll let Anthony go first on that one, actually. Be interested to get your thoughts on it.
So like,
I know what you mean, but in terms of my video, my family don't really have a lot to do with my channel, but in terms of getting me ready, yes. So yes, they have a lot to do with it. But in terms of actually making the content, they don't have a clue what to do. So
No, I was just gonna say that I'm exactly the same. Like, she won't mind me saying this. My mum had a Teams meeting this morning, and I had to help her set up Teams. Do you know what I mean?
There you go.
So
Yeah,
like,
yeah, so
they
you're
have
helping
no
each other out.
idea about the content itself. But I'm curious to know, like, to feel presentable and ready to make videos, is it having a good support system in place for you both? Something.
Yeah, I mean, go on, Anthony. You go first.
Because like this morning when I woke up, I had stuff around my mouth. So just simple things like that. If somebody wiping my mouth, it's obviously very important.
What about you, Dom?
Yeah, interestingly enough, when we started doing the content for Give Me a Hull, Anthony, my Anthony will always tell you, Anthony Nail, and he'll always tell you that for years he didn't actually know what my disability was. He knew I had a disability, but he couldn't tell, because he just sees me, as Dom. And I think, so in terms of building content, I could certainly be better. Like, I think you guys are technically better content creators than me, and I'm learning a lot from the way you guys present, the way you guys create. For me, I'm getting better all the time. I think the biggest problem for me is time management, editing, because of, I have a little bit, obviously not to the extent of our Anthony here, but I have a little bit of CP in my hands as well. And so when I'm editing stuff, because I edit with, this is, it's not very technical. I edit with iMovie, all my stuff. And it takes a long time. It's all good. Yeah, it takes a long time, to get it right and everything. And I think that takes a lot. So for me, it's just time management and time process. Certainly when I was younger, obviously before the days of YouTube, guys, I'm a lot older than both of you, I think. I was helped out a lot more when I was going out and things like that. But then when I was 16, going to college and uni and stuff, I was kind of pushed, because I didn't live at home, and I was pushed out of my comfort zone. And some of my mates, had to help me and stuff. Yeah. When in that environment, and if I've had operations and stuff, people have had to help me. And now I do have a support network that would, I've got Emma and my partner Emma, who I don't know if you've met, but I'm sure you will at some point. And
I've seen her on the streams.
She said hi to you a few times, and her two boys, who of course are also, they're becoming wrestling fans to Give Me a Hull, and they're really supportive. So if I did need help, if I did need support, they would absolutely do that for me, and that's wonderful. I will, sometimes there are things I struggle with, like cutting my toenails and things like that, which is just, general everyday stuff. And Emma does help me with things like that. So, it doesn't, it's not like I'm going to do a toenail cutting stream on Give Me a Hull. But if I ever do need help with anything, Emma and my friends, they're very supportive. Yeah.
What is something that you guys maybe view as an advantage when it comes to content creating? I'm really curious to know about this, because a conversation that me and Anthony have had when I've been on his channel in the past is whether we're getting guests because of our content speaking for itself, or whether we're getting guests because of like our circumstances. I'll put it that way.
That's so. I've got to lead. You've got to lead with Anthony on this one. Like that's fascinating. Yeah, go on, mate.
I definitely think sometimes there is a case of, but a lot of the time it's about the way you present yourself, and if people do come on just because they feel sorry for you, I feel like that's their prerogative, and you shouldn't feel bad about that. I know I felt bad about that for the first couple of months.
I get you.
Like, you know what I mean? Because obviously I feel like there's better people out there than
yes.
But
no.
But because of my disability, sometimes I can have a leg up when they don't.
Yeah. What is some ways you feel like you, to use your term, my friend, have a leg up with your disability and content creating?
Great term, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the person's name, but a person came on my channel, and it was quite obvious. To me, it was quite obvious that she wasn't really interested, and that got me thinking, did you come on? Because she didn't want to say no. Because she did not want to say no to the disabled guy, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean exactly. What about you, Dom?
So I think I'd ask you guys both the question, just for my interest. When you pitch for interviews, is it part of your interview pitch? Do you mention your disability in that? Just out for my curiosity.
Not really.
Right,
Anthony?
Okay. I don't think in the beginning because of my speech that a lot of people can determine that I have some sort of disability, no effect on, but because you speak a lot clearer than me and you speak relatively quite normally.
I don't know whether to be offended or proud of that, because I'm an Essex boy and we don't speak properly, mate.
No, it's cool, man. No, it's just because it's an interesting one, because the guests you get on your channels are not, they wouldn't go for, say, Soundsphere. They wouldn't come on a platform like ours, and so I think there's an element of your personalities as individuals. And perhaps if I did my own channel where I was, the Dom podcast or Dom Talks Rubbish or something like that, then maybe it'd be different. And it's something for me to think about. Something for me to think about, because when I approach things, it's always as Soundsphere or Give Me a Hull, yeah. And of course they're kind of more. It's more than just me, isn't it? So people actually turn me, people that have come on your channels, and not to name names, of course, but have actually turned me down, because and I think, and that's not it's not a problem. It's a great testament to your characters and your channels, because I think they invest in you. People invest in people, and I think that's one thing that you guys have the other YouTubers don't, is that your character, your personality, and your vibe is so infectious, and you are educating people about CP, you're educating people about disability and neurodiversity as well. So it's interesting for me to speak to you guys about it, because it's interesting, because you guys get interviews and I always look at your channels, I'm like, holy,
how did we get that one?
Because like the Cultaholic guys and all that stuff, they don't, that's not the done thing in the media. People don't give other people's channels interviews unless there's a crossover or a partnership. Very often,
I got lucky.
Obviously you do see it. You do see it, but very rarely. And I think Anthony's another example. You're with the Anthony podcast. I think people invest in you because you're bringing awareness, and your questions are really researched. That's the other cool thing about you guys. And I'll finish up my point, is that you research everything. You know what you're talking about, and so if people come into an interview and go, oh, what's this going to be like? I'm not sure how to deal with this. When you talk to you, the interviews, they go, as they go, people like, this guy's a journalist. This guy knows what he's talking about. Both of you have that ability, which is to your credit.
You talked about educating people there, Dom, and I am curious to know what Anthony thinks on this.
Yeah.
What is some things you feel like people in the internet community should know about CP and content creating?
That's a very tough question to be honest. Like, I would just say that don't be narrow-minded to that. That's very minor. I don't really know what to say to that one, to be honest.
No, I get what you mean. Don't be narrow-minded is really cool. What about you, Dom?
I think time management. I think there are days, and me and Anthony have actually had conversations about this, to break kayfabe and take you behind the curtain. We've actually had, as I've had to educate Anthony about certain things, as I get older and my symptoms change, because again, as you guys know, bones start to ache a little more and things start to, I've had to be like, I need this night off, I need to take some time away, just because my body is just not playing ball. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but after years of I should really be open about this. After years of what I would call workaholism, where I've pushed my body to get to the point where we are, which is great and lovely. We're very privileged to be where we are, but it's taken a physical toll because I hadn't always slept well. I always 4 hours,
4 hours here, 4 hours
please,
there.
Yeah, please get for more than 4 hours a night, guys. Please drink water. You can't, cheap plug for my Give Me a Hull Yeah mug. You can't always survive. You can't always survive on caffeine. So I think looking, especially with neurodiversity and disabilities, and it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on this. Extra important to look after yourself, look after your physical and mental health, because that's something I didn't pay attention to for a long, long time.
I have one more question, and then we'll wrap this up once Anthony said what he said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what I was gonna say, like a couple of weeks ago, I was ill. Yeah, I had a dreaded virus, a lot of it, and like I feel like because of my disability, sometimes like the common cold can really knock me about a little bit. So I feel like certain members of my audience don't really understand that even though it's just a common cold, for me it can really knock me about.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like I had last weekend at time of recording, I had a very nasty stomach bug, and things like that just kill me for some reason. So as we wrap this up, I am curious to know, what do you guys do to maybe alleviate your symptoms on days that you wake up and are like, I got to do this recording, but I've woken up feeling like an old man?
Yeah, Anthony, go first on this one, because I imagine it's quite different.
Yeah,
because I basically run my own channel. Obviously, but if I don't feel up to it, I just won't record. But if I had to record, I would just if it was my legs, for example, I would just put my legs up in the air, or just like have some medication before I recorded.
Yeah. Dom?
Yeah, well, when I moved back to the country, when I moved back to the UK, I actually started doing neurophysio. There's a few places in the country that do specialist neurophysio, for sports professionals and people with CP and things like that. So I started doing neurophysio and going out and actually, making an effort to push myself to attend neurophysio, which has been hugely helpful. Previously as well, I've had I've been at the gym and had a personal trainer, a friend of mine who helps me out in the gym, trying to be a little bit more healthy. I think since the pandemic, I've gotten very lazy. I love a good Zoom sesh,
Yeah.
So I was doing personal training over Zoom and not necessarily doing all the exercises I was supposed to be doing as well as I was supposed to be doing them. But yeah, for me, try to exercise, especially as I get older. I spent my 20s and like my teen years, like just hammering my body, like not looking after myself, not sleeping, eating McDonald's every day, drinking coffee every day, whatever.
I have never done that.
Yeah, well, it's fine. Everything in moderation, right?
Exactly.
Everything in moderation. So I think for me, yeah, just if you can, and it sounds horrible, but if you can, find someone around who can, either help you out for free or give you a discount on physio if possible, or help you out, do some exercises from home. A lot of times I'll do exercises from home, and I'll try and push myself a little bit just to get my body moving in the morning, and also a good cup of, less tea than normal, but I always have a cup of tea in the morning. I always have a good cup of Yorkshire jam on toast tea, which is my favorite thing at the moment.
Very nice.
That's what. Yeah.
What about you, man? Like, because obviously you do a lot of your recordings from your bed, correct?
Yeah.
Is that something that really helps? And like, if you did it in a chair, would it be like, yeah, I can't do this for more than so long?
To be honest, yeah, I don't know this for certain, but I think if I did it in my chair, it might be a bit easier for me. But at the end of the day, I'm more comfortable on my bedside.
That's what I meant from the comfort perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
Fair enough. And then we talked about earlier as well, and I am really conscious of time because I don't just want the Zoom meeting to go clear. But like, what do you feel like as well with, you talked about Dom, us maybe getting a few more guests because of our circumstances. Do you feel like if you have to cancel last minute, people are a bit more understanding than if, say,
Absolutely.
you would be in our other perspectives, sort of thing?
I can be super quick on this because, I think, that is one of the times where I have mentioned my disability. Like, I've had a CP flare up, my joints are aching, I can't move. Sometimes it happens where I literally can't get out of bed, as I'm sure it does with both of you. And I think that the thing is, where that's one of the hardest things to explain sometimes over email, but people tend to be very understanding from my end anyway.
What about you, Anthony?
I agree with that because sometimes I feel bad for nothing, and actually it's actually a medical issue. So why do I feel bad? Obviously, not obviously, but sometimes I can feel like I sort of wasted their time. But at the end of the day, it's all about my health, isn't it? So
yeah,
there you go.
So as we wrap this up, fellas, you guys know that the question that I end all my interviews on is, with YouTube, with podcasting, with social media in general, we're all sort of going to live forever in some sort of way. But I'm going to rephrase that question a little bit. What is one video you feel like you've highlighted cerebral palsy in to raise more awareness that you really want the people to check out?
Do you want to go first on this, Anthony?
No, you can go first.
Okay, mate. So we did a documentary a couple of years ago where we had a presenter. So this is on Soundsphere magazine, and it's the disability. It spotlights the music scene in my home city of Hull, but from a perspective of the disabled community. So it's done. The presenter is disabled, is wheelchair bound, and talks to people running music venues all across our home city. And I worked with Hull College to produce that, and it was a real showcase of how diversity and inclusion, certainly in our home city, is improving, and also ways that it can improve. And it was very motivational for me to see that even if people don't have an experience of disability and difference in their lives, a lot of people, not everybody of course, but a lot of people are empathetic, and a lot of people will make efforts to accommodate. So we spoke to managers of arenas, and we spoke to managers of small venues, and it was wonderful. And I'm really proud of that to this day, that we were able to work with a college and give paid opportunities to people with disabilities and differences to produce that documentary on the disabled on the disability community and the music scene here in Hull.
What
about you, my friend?
I would say the video that I made about being a YouTuber with Cerebral Palsy, I think you saw that one.
Yeah, because I was just going to say, before you explain that, I am going to be completely honest. I saw that video, and this is where the idea came from. I was like, that's a more in-depth discussion that would be very cool. And then when I reached out to both of you and you were like, yeah, I'm game. I know, Zoom. Time is running out.
It's all right. It's all good, man.
Right.
Good.
So, sorry, Anthony, as we wrap this up, do you want to explain that video?
So basically, it's a more condensed version of what we spoke about today. Obviously, it's a lot shorter. But I think it's just that informative. You don't know that about CP.
Yeah.
And I've also got a playlist of all my other life story videos. So if you want to if you want to get them out, then please do so.
Right. I don't normally plug my own videos on this, but I am going to plug one because I'm really proud of this video. I went on a stag do this weekend, right? And my mate was like, you should vlog and then like show the pubs that are wheelchair accessible and stuff. And I did that, and that vlog will hopefully be out on the channel.
Awesome.
Coincided with this project, shall we say. But before we wrap this up, gents, where can the good people find you?
Anthony, do you want to plug your? I could plug your podcast too, but you from your own mouth, Anthony. What would you like to plug?
You can find me on YouTube at Anthony, just Anthony. You can also listen to the Anthony podcast, wherever you get your podcast from. You can follow me on Twitter, Anthony Talk #1. Same thing on Instagram. And thank you for having me on. Thank you for having me on, Tom.
It's been a lot of fun, man. What about you, Dom?
Anthony's got it down. I love it. You can follow my podcast wherever you get your podcast. You are like on it, man. Way better than I could be. If you guys search Soundsphere, that's SOUNDSPHERE magazine, the YouTube channel will come up and our website will come up. Obviously, we have Gimme a Hull Yeah, which is wrestling specific. This is a busy week, of course, as you guys know, for wrestling fans. We'll be streaming Ring of Honor at the time of recording, Ring of Honor tonight, and then WrestleMania as well. So it's a busy weekend
this will
for us.
go up on Monday, by the way.
Oh,
this
cool.
is going up.
Wow. Okay, cool. So we got a busy week on the podcast. And then finally, my disability and mental health focused podcast and website, Wobbling About and Rocking Out, which has stories on it around difference, disability and neurodiversity. So that's Wobbling About and Rocking Out, or WARO for short. And the website is waro.co.uk. And one of the things I do want to do is talk to both of you for that. So we'll on another time, on another channel, I want to get you guys back together and do something on there. So I look forward to continuing this partnership, man.
Yeah. So as we wrap this up, obviously, I want to say thank you to the good boys for coming on. If you guys like this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Tom Talks Rubbish. Follow me on Twitter at Tom Talks Rubbish, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.